What if I told you that the anxiety consuming your mornings, ruining your focus and stealing your sleep isn't a modern disease but a misunderstanding the ancients solved 2,000 years ago? Right now, across the US, the UK, Canada, and Australia, millions are drowning in chronic worry. The economy, social media comparison, endless notifications, they've wired our brains for perpetual threat detection. But the Stoics had a different operating system, one that didn't just manage anxiety, it dismantled it. I'm talking about a philosophy stress-tested in exile, war, and plague. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while burying his children. Seneca was sentenced to death. Epictetus was born a slave. Yet they built a mental fortress that no external chaos could breach. Today, I'm handing you the same 7 keys, not theory, practical, psychological weapons to destroy anxiety forever. Stay with me. By the end, you'll have a toolset that makes worry feel foreign. And if you find value, hit subscribe to the corporate Canon. We arm modern minds with ancient steel. Here are 7 ways to destroy anxiety forever. The Stoic way. 1. The dichotomy of control. This is the foundation. Epictetus opened his handbook with, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." Anxiety lives in the gap between those two. Think about your last spike of stress, a work deadline, a partner's mood, the news cycle. You were trying to mentally control something outside your jurisdiction. The Stoic move: draw a hard line. Things you control, your judgments, your actions, your values. Everything else, other people's opinions, the stock market, the weather, is indifferent. Not bad, just not yours. When you truly internalize this, you stop being a puppet of circumstance. Next time your boss sends a passive-aggressive email, pause and ask, "Is this under my control?" The content of the email isn't. Your response is. Instantly, the anxiety loses its host. This isn't suppression, it's precision. You're cutting the fuel line of needless worry. Start every morning with the question, what is mine to own today? That single practice will eliminate 80% of your anxiety before breakfast. 2. Premeditatio malorum. Negative visualization of the future. Sound counterintuitive? That's why it works. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. Seneca, a man worth millions, would regularly imagine himself destitute, homeless, starving, not to depress himself, but to free himself. Anxiety thrives on the unknown. Your brain paints worst-case scenarios as unsurvivable catastrophes. By voluntarily walking into that darkness, you rob it of its power. Here's the exercise before any stressful event to pitch. A difficult conversation, a flight sit-down, and vividly imagine it going as badly as possible. The client says no. You stutter. The plane hits turbulence so bad you grip the armrest. Feel the embarrassment, the discomfort. Then ask, will I die? Can I still act with virtue? Can I handle this? The answer is almost always yes. You'll notice the emotional charge deflates. You've already lived the nightmare in safety. The reality becomes manageable. This is psychological inoculation. Do this daily, and you'll build a callus over fear. Anxiety becomes a familiar, harmless ghost. 3. Memento mori. Remember you must die. It's not morbid, it's clarifying. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Modern culture hides death behind hospitals and euphemisms, so we live as if we have infinite tomorrows. That illusion is a breeding ground for anxiety. Why? Because anxiety feeds on the idea that things matter more than they do. That awkward thing you said 5 years ago? It will be erased by death, the promotion you're obsessing over. A tombstone won't care. Practice memento mori daily. Set a wallpaper that says, "You will die." Meditate on your mortality for 2 minutes each morning, not to scare yourself, but to awaken. When death is your advisor, you instantly reorder priorities. The office politics, the traffic, the social media trolling, they shrink to their true size. You stop wasting your one precious life on low-stakes dramas. This urgency kills procrastination, anxiety, and perfectionism. You'll act, speak, and love like someone who knows the clock is ticking. That's not dread, that's liberation. 4. Amor fati. Love your fate. This is the alchemy. Stoics didn't just accept what happened, they embraced it. Amor fati, love of fate. Nietzsche later called it his formula for greatness. Anxiety is fundamentally a war with reality. You wanted sunny weather, it rained. You wanted approval, you got criticized. The gap between expectation and reality is where anxiety builds its nest. Amor fati demolishes that gap. It says, not only will I accept this, I will thrive because of it. Imagine your flight is cancelled. The average person spirals into frustration, checking phones, rebooking in panic. The Stoic says, good, this is an opportunity to practice patience, to read a book, to meet someone at the gate I'd never have spoken to. Every obstacle becomes fuel. A breakup becomes a lesson in self-reliance. A job loss becomes the push to start your business. When you adopt the mindset that everything is happening for you, not to you, anxiety can't get a foothold. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a sculptor of meaning. Next time life throws a punch, say out loud, I'm meant to use this. Then watch anxiety dissolve into curiosity. 5. The view from above, cosmic perspective. Marcus Aurelius had a breathtaking practice. He'd zoom out. From his palace in Rome, he'd imagine the city from a hilltop, then from the clouds, then the entire empire as a dot, then Earth hanging in the vast, silent cosmos. All the wars, the scandals, the anxieties, suddenly they appeared as what they are, specks of dust on a speck of dust. You can use this right now. In a moment of panic, close your eyes, picture yourself from across the room, then from the roof, then from a plane. Keep zooming out until you see the blue marble of Earth, the solar system, the Milky Way. Hold that image. Your racing heart? A microscopic event in a universe that's 13.8 billion years old. That looming deadline? Inconsequential against the backdrop of infinity. This isn't escapism, it's perspective recalibration. Anxiety balloons because we're zoomed in too close. The view from above pops the balloon. It makes you realize that no matter what happens, the cosmos remains indifferent, and you are free to act with calm dignity. Use it whenever overwhelm strikes. It's a 2-minute cheat code to peace. 6. Negative visualization of bliss ends. Last time meditation. While Way 2 anticipates future calamities, this practice targets present attachment. The Stoics understood hedonic adaptation. We get used to what we have and start craving more, which breeds a low-grade, constant anxiety. The cure? Regularly imagine losing what you love, not to induce fear, but to shatter complacency. Consider your eyesight. What if tomorrow you woke up blind? Spend a minute imagining the darkness, the dependence. Then open your eyes and feel the flood of gratitude. Do this with your partner, your job, your ability to walk, your morning coffee. This isn't about clinging. It's about illuminating how rich you already are. Anxiety often whispers, what if I lose this? Negative visualization answers, I would survive, and I'd remember the gift it was. That gratitude is a direct antidote to the anxious craving for more. Do the last time meditation. Hug your child as if it's the last time. Taste your meal as if it's your final taste. This practice doesn't make you morbid, it makes you fiercely present, and the anxious noise about the future, it goes silent. Way 7. Voluntary discomfort. Train the nervous system. Philosophy means nothing if your body betrays you. The Stoics were not armchair thinkers. They trained like athletes. Seneca recommended taking a day to wear rough cloth, eat plain food and ask, is this the condition I feared? Modern anxiety is often a nervous system stuck in fight or flight. You can't think your way out of a dysregulated body. You must show your primitive brain that discomfort is safe. Enter voluntary discomfort. Take a 30-second cold shower every morning. Feel the panic of the cold, then breathe through it. Your body learns, I can be uncomfortable and still be fine. Fast for 16 hours, skip a meal, sleep on the floor once a month, wear lighter clothes in winter. These small, deliberate acts of hardship raise your stress threshold. They tell your amygdala that the unknown isn't lethal. Over time, you build a physical resilience that undercuts psychological anxiety. When you're comfortable being uncomfortable, the mundane stresses of modern life, a crowded train, a criticizing boss, barely register. You become the person who can handle anything because you've proven it to yourself daily. Pair this with the mental tools, and you're not just managing anxiety, you're forging an indestructible mind. 7 ways, no gimmicks. The dichotomy of control to stop fighting shadows. Premeditatio malorum to vaccinate against fear. Memento mori to kill trivial worries. Amor fati to turn obstacles into allies. The view from above to shrink your problems. Negative visualization of blessings to flood you with gratitude. And voluntary discomfort to bulletproof your nervous system. This isn't about feeling good for 5 minutes. This is a complete rewiring of how you experience existence. Anxiety will knock, but now you have a door of solid oak, not paper. The Stoics promised tranquility not by changing the world, but by changing the judge within. Practice these daily, and you'll no longer be a leaf in the wind, you'll be the wind itself. If you've made it this far, you're exactly the kind of person who refuses to settle for a mediocre, worried mind. The corporate canon exists to give you the mental operating system the modern world forgot. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and join a community building empires of inner strength. Every week, we decode one ancient principle that makes today's chaos bow. Comment below which of the 7 you'll start with. I read them. And remember, the obstacle is the way. See you in the next one.